Governor Bassey Otu was inaugurated on the 29th of May 2023 as the governor of Cross River State, marking the beginning of a new era in the state's political history. As it marks the first year in office, it is essential to reflect on his administration's achievements, challenges, and prospects for the future. The governor's economic empowerment program have been said to have supported entrepreneurs, farmers, and small business owners, fostering economic growth and job creation, while also attracting investment in key sectors including agriculture and tourism. While it makes further plans for a prosperous Cross River State, the Commissioner for Information in the state, Erasmus Ekpang, now joins us in the studio to look at his exploits and how he hopes to make the state regain its pride of place in global tourism. Good to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So let's start it off. Cross River State used to be a hub of tourism back in the day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have accused past governors of probably dabbling into the proverbial white elephant projects that have all gone moribund, some of them seized by AMCON, and the rest just left to rot away. How is Governor Bassey Otu seeking to redress this, address this ill, and probably get back on par?
Yeah, thank you very much. Governor Bassey Otu actually, had his plans for Cross River State. And his was very simple: the people's first mantra, regaining back the glory of Cross River State, possibly gaining or getting back our assets. Like you mentioned, the Tinapa, by the grace of God, we're just, retrieving, getting it back, and many other, plantations that were actually, sold out. His plan was very simple: to actually rebuild Cross River State. So that Cross River State we all knew and had before. With respect to the previous administration, they had their priorities. In one way or the other, in one administration, there was COVID-19, there was NSAS, a lot of issues hit down. But for us, it's trying to consolidate on the previous, projects, administrations, and see how we can sell Cross River State to the world. By bringing in investors to actually invest in Cross River State. And so far, so good. We're doing very, very well. We actually started off with the summits. First ever in Cross River State, the economic summit, where investors from Asia, Axis, the US actually came. It was a big one, and we had some buying, to actually look into, Cross River State, the areas of agriculture, like you had earlier mentioned, very, very key for us, because we have about 1.8 million hectares of arable land.
Wow.
Yeah, very good land. And for us, we actually intended to, set the ball rolling for investors by actually, mapping out this, soil, the type of fertilizers where it would thrive. So we are done with that mapping. We are drawing with geo surveys of the areas, and it's just very easy for investors to actually come and know, if they want to go into, boosting cassava, we actually know the area in Cross River State where it will grow very well, not just, by luck. You understand? That has been done. Not only after that, we had Energy Summit still, because for us, Senator Prince Bassey Otu actually saw Cross River State as a state that solely depended somehow on the FAC allocation, where we all know we are about the least after losing the 76 oil wells. So he actually wanted to bring productivity to Cross River State, where we can actually produce, since we have a lot of forests in the central, we have the best species of cocoa in the central, we can actually do a lot with food sufficiency for us and actually export out. So we have gone through all that, and by the grace of God, Energy Summit was next. Trying to look into Cross River State after losing our oil wells. Even when the federal boundary, the boundary commission visited us, we still appealed to see if we can look into those boundary issues, because Cross River State surrounded by water. I don't think it was too okay for us to lose all the wells. So we're looking into that, while we actually look into some mineral ores that we can actually get within the state, which we are blessed with. And then after that, he didn't stop there. He went ahead for a roundtable, a summit with ambassadors of Europe and all that, where by the grace of God, we had a binding with FMX Bank, where we had a deal to the tune of about 3.5 billion in Egypt, which he went to sign and all that. So for us in Cross River State, he's actually open for business, and actually we are ready to throw in Cross River State to the wall and tell them, come, you can actually invest in us. We are very ready for you people and all that. Mind you, we had actually started construction of farm roads. About 17 farm roads within the states have started under construction. Some are completed to actually give easy access, and at the same time we're actually doing clearing of about 13,000 hectares of farmlands to actually make this give it a very easy way for the investors. As I speak with you some weeks back, we actually flagged up the first 2,000 that has already been cleared in the Dupani local government. So we are really, really actually open for business.
All right. I think the word the government used at some point was retooling the economy of Cross Rivers, to make a difference. But the issue of funding, let's take a look at the internally generated revenue, which increased to around 36 billion or thereabout naira since assuming office. So what was the situation, before now? And how do you intend to make the impact of this, revenue felt in the next year or so?
Yeah, the revenue aspect, we actually have very, experts that have been, very vested well in the finance sector, where we have a commissioner for finance who is a seasoned banker. At the same time, the IRS chairman who is very good. The governor himself, a seasoned banker too. So we actually, there were a lot of leakages, you understand, in the revenue sectors, where we actually have to do with the automation of most of those, and then at the end of the day, we saw that our revenue eventually started, growing up. Like you rightly said, we are doing about a 55% increase of revenue so far. Just in about a year we came, we're doing about 22 billion thereabout for around June, May 2023, and we're seeing it to up to 38 point something billion now, where we are looking, we're aiming towards a possible 50 billion, and beyond that. Our finances have been trying to talk with, we had the quarries, we had the best limestones and all that, so we're actually trying to get our investors back who actually are taken off because of the leakages, multiple taxation maybe, and then the bad road access to where the quarries are and all that. So actually gaining these backs, and even the private community has helped also, because it's very easy now to actually know who know multiple taxation. We actually know where it's going, how it's going, and all that. And for the states, like the AMCOM deal, the state have been able to pay back some money, to actually secure some of our assets, like the TINAPA and all that. So I think that is how we're using these funds back, while we expect more businesses and deals to come into the state.
All right, we're really hard pressed for time, but I would like to ask you before I go, or before you go rather, talk to me. Is there any plan in the offing, somewhere in the near future, that Obudu Mountain Resort, or Obudu Cattle Branch, as some will call it, will be revived at some point?
No, definitely.
Because there were talks about building a rail line to probably shorten the journey from the airport to Obudu. That was jettisoned at some point. This resort excited Nigerians for a long time. And it has fallen on hard times, real hard times. There are talks about no lights, no water, no access to water in the resort. Talk to us. No. Would we ever have the splendor, the glory of what we are seeing on our screens. Once again.
Definitely, just like you rightly said, my principal, he's poised to returning Cross River State to how we knew Cross River State. As I speak with you in this year's carnival, we're including the mountain rates. They've started raising and all that. Okay. Work is ongoing at the ranch as I speak with you. There's a company in Amel, so doing the dairy farm. We have these very natural black cows that, yes. You recall one of our presidents some years back actually had a retreat there, yeah. And a lot of us do honeymoon after marriage and all that. It's a resort we will never give. It's one of those wonders of the world that were never included, and we definitely will never leave that. But like I cry and tell you that everything is falling in place. We are fine with the Botocato Ranch. I'm surprised to hear that you are like water and all that. Everything is fine. It's just for us to just get it back to that shape where we'll be able to fix the cable motor skirt, and then even the other canopy walkway is still fine. It's good. People will still go there and use it. Yeah. Okay. So Botocato Ranch is fine. We have an administrator. We have a special advisor who is monitoring that, and we're doing well with it. Right. So I want to appeal for some time. Just like it's just 1 year for His Excellency. You have seen how much he has done. So much for the state. We'll gradually get to the cable. I think the cable car is not really functioning now. But we'll get to that.
All right, very good. And talking about excitement, I can see part of his surging through.
I think he's planning to be there very soon.
Very good. All right, Erasmus Ekpang, Cross River State Commissioner for Information. Thank you for your time on News Day. It's good to have you with us.